before the Holy One of Heaven. It's only by your blood, and it's only through your mercy. Lord, I come. I bring an offering of worship to my King. No one on earth deserves the praises that I sing. Jesus, may you receive the honor that you're due. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. I bring an offering to you. The sun cannot compare to the glory of your love. There is no shadow in your presence. No mortal man would dare to stand before your throne, before the Holy One of Heaven. It's only by your blood, and it's only through your mercy. Lord, I come. I bring an offering of worship to my King. No one on earth deserves the praises that I sing. Jesus, may you receive the honor that you're due. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. I bring an offering of worship to my King. No one on earth deserves the praises that I sing. Jesus, may you receive the honor that you're due. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. I bring an offering to you, my King. I bring an offering to you, Lord. Oh, my King, Jesus, my King. I bring an offering to you, my King. No, it's the least that I can do. Sacrifice of praise, offering of thanks and gratitude to you, my King, to you. I bring an offering of worship to my King. No one on earth deserves the praises that I sing. Jesus, may you receive the honor that you're due. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. Bless you, Lord. Sing our praise and our thanks, our gratitude for your goodness and your kindness, Lord, towards us. Let's go back to, here comes our guitar player. He's got a heart after God, and he's willing to submit to the team, to what the song requires. And so, he's not going to come in right at the top just jamming necessarily. There may be a song where that's what has to happen. But let's say in this particular song, we'll notice that Kenny's probably going to do these little volume swell things and all this. Then finally in the chorus, he steps on the fuzz box, and it's like, and it just adds dynamics to it. So let's just try that. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see. Here we go. We're building now. One, to see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Lord, pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Feel it building. Oh, notice the kick drum is on every beat now. I want to see. Adding a little intensity. I want to see you, Lord. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Lord, pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. To see you high and lifted up, shining, shining in the light of your glory. Lord, pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Hear how everything's come down? Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. Sorry, I squashed that, guys. I just want to keep on going, But I hope, to me, that was a good example of kind of keeping things kind of like percolating, but keeping it kind of held back until the chorus, boom, and then you pull it back again, and then boom. And so again, strive for that in all the songs that you guys do.
Man, it's invaluable to work out some common signals, some real subtle things with your worship team to like when the ending of the song is coming up, or maybe when you're going to redo the chorus, or just little things like a little nod. I really appreciate that when we're getting near the end of a song, when the band guys, they're worshiping and they're playing, but they kind of have half an eye on me, so I don't have to be like, hey guys, and like getting their attention. All it takes sometimes is just a little nod or just a look, and they pretty much know, okay, we're gonna do this, or here comes the ending, or sometimes I'll use the neck of my guitar. But it's important to kind of work out some kind of real subtle signals. I used to do this when I end a song, and I remember my pastor saying, that's a little funny, when you do that, it's kind of like, so I don't do that anymore. Yeah, sometimes when I get to the end of a song, and I just feel this strong urge to pray. I'm just feeling maybe something that was said in the song and the response of the crowd, and I just sense something's happening in the spirit, and I just want to focus and kind of draw out of my heart something that I'm sensing from the Lord, to pray that out. And again, I'll kind of like look over my piano player, maybe just do this thing, kind of a signal like keep playing, so that I can kind of let go. As much as I've been doing it over, playing and singing, I still find at times that I just don't want the distraction of even trying to play something underneath, but to just be able to let go and say, God, we just press into you, and we just focus our hearts upon you, and just that kind of a thing, knowing that there's some kind of a musical bed underneath being supplied by the keyboardist or the other guitarist. So again, it's working out some kind of subtle signal that lets the band know, okay, keep playing here, or, support me here, hey, I need you here. And many times I'll just kind of do that, that little move there. So, of course, it requires the keyboard player to be paying attention and to be kind of looking like, oh, okay, there he goes. And
there are certain sounds and there are certain instruments, parts of the instruments that you can use to create atmosphere, to bring people into a place of worship. Or I believe that there are certain sounds, and there are, as Paul said earlier, you can go up to the high end of a keyboard or the high end of a guitar neck or a bass neck, and that gives it a different color. Same with sounds and keyboard. There are certain sounds that can usher people into a new atmosphere or an emotion. Hymn. Let's say I'm playing the chorus of How Great Thou Art. Okay, that's one thing. When I add the strings is always a celestial sound that you think, when you hear strings, you think heavenly, you think atmosphere, you think sky, you think all of the things of worship, all of the things of God. You think heavenly when you hear strings. So same song. So when you add those type of things, those different textures and those different sounds, that creates a different atmosphere. Same thing with that. And let's add the drums with, like, just on the top of the cymbals with it, and see what happens with that. Okay, you hear how that creates a whole nother atmosphere. He used swells. It wasn't a beat, it wasn't a groove, but it was swells. So it's always good to use your imagination. What can I come up with that will draw people, to lift their hands, to open their mouths, to create an atmosphere that will have people worshiping. We're gonna try a modern way of creating an atmosphere for worship at this time. I have a pad here, and it's just gonna build. Carl's gonna come in, and the band is just gonna drop in. Check it out.
Like him, the lion and the lamb, seated on the throne. Mountains bow down, and every ocean roars to the Lord of hosts.
Now, I want to move over to the drum kit for a minute. As a worship leader, I'm not a drummer, but in order to communicate with a drummer, I've got to know some things about the drum set. I got to be able at some point to be able to say to the drummer, "Hey, can you give me a kick and a snare on the chorus, or can you give me a little 16th note hi-hat thing?" You know, it's like one and a 2 and a 3 and, or give me eighth notes. And I'll say, hey, can you just give me, Carl, can you give me some eighth note type thing on the hi-hat and just kick, drum, and hi-hat. And then I might say, now give me a snare, bro. Okay, go. Cool. Now give me 16th note on the chorus now. Hear that? 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Now can you give me one of these on the chorus? That's the ride cymbal. And sometimes on the chorus, you know, you're bringing it on home. So again, that's cool, Carl. Again, I don't play drums, but I just encourage you to learn what the different parts of the drum kit are and be able to communicate some of your likes and dislikes to the drummer. Of course, if you have a really good drummer, you know, you shouldn't have to be telling him everything, you know, what to do, because a good drummer kind of knows what to do. So I just want Carl to speak a little bit about just that timing thing we talked about, keeping good time, keeping the dynamics nice and strong. A lot of times what he does for me is he has the song already marked out on a metronome. So anyway, you talk about it, Carl, what you do, bro.
Sure. What Paul's looking for and what every worship leader and band leader wants is the drummer to be keeping time. And of course, all the band members should be keeping good time, but they're going to lean on the drummer for that. And I always mark at rehearsal times when Paul is going through songs like what tempos he likes. And you can get a metronome or some kind of drum machine, and you can a lot of times just tap in the tempo. Like when we were doing Above All, you know, if he's doing a boom, kind of ballad tempo, and you'll hear above all time. Okay, so as a drummer, at every rehearsal, I'm marking every kind of song we're doing. And I practice that way. I set up a drum machine or a metronome to practice with, playing these songs in my head as I'm sitting at home just with myself playing drums. So it works really well to get that under control, and you have to control that time. Even though we're interacting and I need to be flexible, if Paul wants to go a little faster, a little slower, you know, we can adjust, but he's kind of leaning on me to kind of drive the bus. Once we're kind of on the road, he wants me to keep the bus on the road. So a drummer really needs to think in those terms. So you need some kind of metronome. You know, you have to have that, or a drum machine. And what's really popular nowadays is using something that will create drum loops, patterns that we can use to actually use in performance. And at first when you're doing this, you know, don't do it in a church service if you haven't practiced it. I mean, it'll drive you crazy. So it takes a lot of practice. If it's new to you, don't get frustrated. Start and stop. You know, you might have to play 4 bars and start over, but start practicing with this whenever you're practicing, and you'll get used to the idea. We're going to do a little bit of playing a song that we actually use a drum loop on. We're going to do Trading My Sorrows, and this little funky pattern you hear is coming out of this machine that's a basic small sampler, and it's just going to play this loop over and over. And you're hearing this in, I would probably say, 90% of contemporary worship and Christian music and things you hear on the radio. We're not using it so much live all the time unless it's really musically working well. I don't recommend it that you use it on every song in worship, but a couple tunes is kind of a cool thing to do, and it'll really help your teams tighten up the sound if you get used to doing this kind of thing. So we're going to try this.
1, 2, 3, 4.